Okay, so now let's add a little more data to our the map that we created, right? So remember we have this, we've imported the soil map, and there is nothing there except for the map unit symbol and this map unit key. Okay, and if we go and if we look into the tabular data, let's go here. Right, it's like something like comp. We can see in here we've got there's soil names, it looks like here, drainage class, all that stuff. So how do we go ahead and get all that stuff into the into our map? First thing I want to do is show you. So you kind of need, like, if we look at these file names here. So these are all tables, by the way. But they're not, the file names aren't super descriptive. Map unit, click on that, kind of makes sense. It's showing you this is the symbol, this is the name of the map unit here, which we can see there. So 2711E, Jory Silk Clay Loam, 20 to 30% slopes, right? So you're getting that data. But we really need something that gives us more of a description of what those tables are. So what we do is you go to, what I would do is just Google Surgo metadata. And you click on that, and it's going to be Surgo and stat go to structural metadata and documentation. Okay. Then this will give you an understanding of what these tables are. So if you click on, let's say we'll click on this one to look at table column descriptions. And then let's go ahead and let's just look at the one that says map unit. There it is, right? So we can see, and here it describes each thing. So that first column is mu sim, is the map unit symbol, and then it gives you a description there. So it tells you map unit symbol and the symbol used to uniquely identify the soil map unit, right? And if we go open it up, let's open up map unit again. So there you can see it right there. That's the map unit symbol. The next column is the map unit name, right? So that's going to be the actual name of the soil, which is right there, right? All right, so that's how you kind of navigate this, and you figure out what data you actually want. So looking around this description of tables in the metadata, say I want this one here. This one seems kind of useful. It's called map unit aggregate attribute. And in here, we can get stuff like depth of bedrock, which might be kind of useful to know how deep or shallow our soils are. And we can get stuff like available water storage, right? So if it's a mature vineyard, which in this case it is, then we might be interested in looking at available water storage down to about 100 centimeters, which is a little over 3 feet, which is really where, probably 98% of our roots are found, and really all the water is coming from that top 3 feet of soil. So that might be something useful to look at. And then probably also drainage class would be interesting. Is it well drained, poorly drained, what have you, right? So how do we do that? So this is the file. The text file is mu agate there. So if we go in here, here's the text file, and you can see all that data. All right. And now we need to append this to the attribute table. So one thing you can do is, and you should do, is go into the structural metadata and documentation and look up at this report here. This explains the columns. And the reason you need to look at this is because the columns, when you bring them into these text files into QGIS, you're going to need to know what the columns are because they're actually not going to be labeled in these tables. And so I'll show you how to do that now. So let's go ahead and bring in that mu agate file that's going to tell us some things about the structural features of our soil. So go to layer, then go to add layer, and then you're going to add delimited text layer. Okay, and then go ahead and find the file you want to bring in. So in this case, we're going to bring in mu agate. All right, and then you need to make sure a few things are set. So you're going to use custom delimiters. So if we did CSV, nothing's going to appear down here, sample data. We need to use custom delimiters, and then it is tab delimited, but then also in others here. So you can see what you need to do is hit shift, and then you have that backslash. Right above the backslash is that straight line. It's right. It should be usually right above the enter key on a laptop keyboard. Right, so you can see that when I put that in, you can see down here, it fills with data. Notice though that the fields, the columns up here, are not labeled. Right, so we need to figure that out. So then everything looks good. There's no geometry. This is simply a table. All right, and just hit add. So now what we could do is we can open it up. Let's go to open attribute table. And let's go ahead and just look at it. So field 1 here is the map symbol. Field 2 is the name of the soils, kind of a long name with slope and everything. We can simplify this later. And then you have drainage class here in 16, and a bunch of other stuff. You don't really know what this is. What's field 31, right? So what if we wanted to know that, or let's say field 33, okay? So if we go to this document, this is going to explain our what each of these columns are. So let's go ahead and find, and by the way, these are all in alphabetical order. So you have CH Horizon there, that's one of the files. But let's go ahead now and find the MU aggregate. Okay, so here it is. So if we go down here, so you can see the first column there is map unit symbol, and we wanted to look at the 33rd column, and it is whatever this means. It's something for engineering. It's construction materials, sand source, right? And so we could go over here and figure that out, what that actually is. It's there. The rating of the map unit as a source of sand expressed as the dominant class of the map unit based on the composition of the, so it's saying, I think what it's saying here is it's, so if we go look at our attribute table in field 33, it's a poor source of sand, right? These are clays. Okay, so that's kind of how you figure this out, how you use it. So one thing we need to know is how do we now append this to the soil, the spatial data. So what we're going to do, in this case, we can just use, so we need to find common identifying values. So what we have here is the soil, the map unit symbol here. And if we open up the attribute table in here, you'll see it right there, MU sim, right? So these numbers are going to match up. So what we're going to do is right click on, so that's field 1 in the table. So right click on the soil polygon, then go to properties, then go to join here. Now we're going to click plus, like add, and we're going to add the MU agate table based on the first field. So this is going to be the field that has like the identifying code or value that's going to correspond to the same codes in another, in whatever you're joining it to, right? So this is our MU symbol, and then in this case MU symbol. So these two things should match up, right? So whatever has in our polygon layer, whatever has the same numbers, like in MU symbol and in field 1, then the data that corresponds to that in this table is going to append, right? So let's just go ahead and do it, and I can show you. So just go ahead and click OK, and then hit apply. Click OK. Now let's open up our attribute table. Right, so now you can see all of that stuff is attached. Okay, so let's make sure this makes sense, right? So 2711E is Jory Silt Clay Loam 20 to 30% slope, right? And then go over here back to our soil map, and 2711E, Jory Silt Clay Loam 20 to 30% slope. Okay, so that's all you have to do to get that data, into these maps, right? So we could find other stuff, and also if we wanted to go ahead and change these field names and make them something more descriptive, we can do that, and we can do that in Excel. And I will go ahead and show you how to do that in the next video.